Hey friends, it's Big Dub. It's Rufus. Right on command. You know when we're talking to the people, huh? You love to show them. You love to be the star of the show. Big Dub and Rufus here with our top 10 this week. Top 5 Tuesday, our top 10 figures of the year. The big one, the final one. Rufus, should we do a little dance to the top 10 figures of the year? Huh? We can do the handstands. Top 10 figures, top 10 figures, top 10 figures of 2022. He's like, please put my hands down, Dad. Please put my hands down. Look, Rufus. Yeah, you say hi? It's our top 10 figures of 2022 from Rufus and I, from the Dub family. I thought Rufus would lay beside me up here, but he's just going to decide to do this right now, which is just fine. You can see his beautiful coat growing back in. He's such a handsome dog. But let's get into it. Our top 10 list. Hopefully you had a great Christmas weekend and everything that you've been doing. And you're getting ready for New Year's. We still have a few of these top videos to count down and a lot of content here as we wind down the year together on the Big Dub and Family, the Dubs YouTube channel. Come on, Puppy Dub, come sit up here. Don't want to? You don't have to, buddy. He's sleepy. He just woke up from a nap, and he probably wants to take another nap, and he wishes that I would take a nap with him. And the plop. Let's get into it. Our top 10 figures of the year. The list that everybody looks forward to, the list that everybody makes this time of year, including me. And let's just get right into it. No honorable mentions on this list, even though we've had honorable mentions on every other list. And that's because I've made multiple top 5 from different lines. So honorable mentions would just be repetitive to things that have been mentioned on those lists. There's nothing that would be an honorable mention, meaning it didn't make the list, but I want to call it out especially. It's been mentioned on another list. So nothing in this. And this top 10 list will actually go pretty fast because all these figures we've already talked about before on some of the top lists previously, but we need to rank them for top 10. So number 10, let's get right into it. This is from Tamashii Nations, the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Super Saiyan 2 Goku. Super Saiyan 2 Goku. I think this was my favorite Figuarts figure of the year, probably. Not a great year for the Dragon Ball Figuarts line. A lot of reissues, a lot of just minor updates to paint and sculpt. We did get a couple new characters on the premium Bandai side, some of the Frieza Force. But this Goku, great figure. The first time we got a Super Saiyan 2 head sculpt for Goku. A brand new aura effect that also had like the lightning coming around him, which is awesome. I like the single piece sculpt of the aura effects. You don't have to put the two little things beside him. And that Super Saiyan 2 head sculpt looks really good. Fun figure, lots of effects. Was a con exclusive, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. You could get in person there. You could have got it in person at New York Comic-Con. I think even at PowerCon they maybe had a pickup. There was another convention they had a pickup. Plus they had a pre-order on Premium Bandai for a long time. Those aren't fulfilled yet. A lot of those folks will get them next year. So an exclusive, but decently easy to get. The pre-order sat up for a long time. Even the in-stock orders weren't that hard to get. So you could get him. But a great figure. I'm looking for big things from Figuarts Dragon Ball next year. I think 2023 they're going to make a big jump up because it seems like they've been a little slow here in 2022. That's my number 10 figure. Moving to number 9, we move into NECA, and for the first time, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it is the Archie Comics Slash figure. And awesome figure. One of my very favorite, and maybe it was the number 1. No, it's I think it was number 2 of the NECA TMNT figures this year. No, you don't need to bark at those bad dogs. If you've been watching videos recently, you see every time I want to make a video, the neighbor's terrible dogs that are incapable of not barking at everything bark at stuff, and it gets him riled up, and it makes him do like that because he wants to save the day. Rufus, come here, buddy. Come here. You don't gotta worry about those bad dogs. They're bad. You're not a bad dog. You're a good dog. I know. Yes. That's a good boy. Spoiler alert, Rufus is the number 1 figure of the year. It's Rufus. He's not on the list, but he's the best thing that we picked up all year. Isn't that right, puppy? I know, those dogs are very annoying. Unfortunately, NECA Archie Comic Slash, I'm sorry you got interrupted because you are a fantastic figure. I really love what they're doing with the comics line. Let's come up here. Let's come up here. Let's come up here, buddy. There we go. And no, we're going to put your hind end up, huh? You don't got to worry about them dogs. You can just lay down and take a little nap, get a little belly rub while I talk to the people. How about that? Don't show them your T-Tilly Tinky now. We're on YouTube. We don't need to show that off. It's not the Rufus only pups. That's not what it is. It's a good doggy. So RG Comics Slash, I keep getting interrupted, I'm sorry. I love the comics line from NECA. I think they're killing it. It's one of my very favorite lines of the year. And I look forward. I think big things are coming from this line as well, both the Archie and the Mirage and maybe IDW stuff. I think they're going to go all over the place with interesting things. And I really do look forward to what they're doing. But this Slash looks great. It's been a great year for Slash, a great couple of years for Slash as a character. And, I think the coloring, the shading on this, the accessories, the sculpt, all excellent. That's my number 9 figure of the year. Moving to number 8 figure of the year, the first appearance of Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that, again, is Slash. The Super 7 Ultimates Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Slash figure. A fine, fine figure. It really feels like a scaled up version for my scaled up hands of the figure I played with when I was a kid. It really feels that way. I think they killed it. The accessories are great. I love the colors on it. I know some people think it's a little dark. I do not. I like it a lot. I don't have any issue. I have no issue with it at all. Mine poses fine. I'm looking at it right here. It's what I'm staring at. It comes with all sorts of stuff. It's fun to take pictures of. It's big, it's imposing, has great shelf presence. It's just really a great figure. And if you're going to pick up a single Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure and it's not one of the core Ninja Turtles, this is the one to pick up. It's a great figure. You'll really, really enjoy it. Moving to number 7 on the list, and it comes from Mythic Legions from the Four Horseman Studios, and that is the Figura Obscura Four Horseman exclusive Headless Horseman figure. And for this one, because it is a 2-pack that only comes together, I'm including him on his horse. What can you say about this figure? Incredible sculpt. Now, this is a pricey one. This may be the most expensive, or the second most expensive figure on the list. It was not cheap, plus you had to pay for shipping and all that, but it's tremendous with the different heads and the attention to detail, like the peg and the neck hole, so that if you want him holding his pumpkin head, you don't just see an exposed hole. Cool accessories. The horse is tremendous. They're making the best 1/12 horses in the game with the Four Horseman Studios. And, I think there's going to be a alternate color release of this, or some sort of alternate release of this in the future. They did hint toward that. They did the same thing with Krampus. Last year they had the black or brownish Krampus. That was the regular release. And then they had a retailer release that was a pre-order that was red that's just now showing up. I'm waiting on mine to come in, actually. So I think you'll have another chance to get this Headless Horseman if you want it, and maybe in a different color version or something like that. And I highly recommend it. It's a great figure, fun to play with. Articulation sometimes is troubling on Mythic Legion. Sometimes it's stiff. But you can get what you need to get done. But the sculpts are fantastic. So definitely one to check out. Rufus has returned from investigating the noises. So following up the number 7 figure of the year, we move to the number 6 figure of the year. And we stay right here with Four Horseman Studios. And that is the Mythic Legion's Elithia figure. Now, I didn't buy her as a 2-pack with her horse Phobos, so I'm only counting Elithia as this, even though they're kind of a 2-pack, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. She's the vampire one to release. I haven't paid attention as to which is which, Conquest and Famine and Death. I don't think Necronominus may be Death. Poxus may be like Pestilence. Maybe she's Conquest? I don't know. I need to look that up and understand. But she's the vampire one. She's got all sorts of cool accessories. Her face sculpt is unbelievable. She's the vampire queen. The vampires that came with her in that wave, she's the lead figure of the Elithia wave, are also tremendous. This is a Mythic Legions figure. Even as a female figure, which often are smaller, have less articulation or whatever, versus like an ogre or troll or something. She just is everything that a Mythic Legions figure is, that a sword and sorcery figure is. She can fit in any display you want her to. Certainly you could have Blade trying to catch her. You could have the My Hero Academia kids trying to fight her. She could fit in anywhere you want her to, but she looks great. The stunning like blacks and purples, the very rich dark colors on her look tremendous. And that wave, which I have almost the whole wave. I didn't pick it all up, but I regret not getting some, so I'm hopeful Santa may have some of those under the Christmas tree. They are really, it's a really good wave. It's a really good wave, and it makes you just want to always go all in on the pre-order for Mythic Legion. So back-to-back for Horseman, number 7 and number 6. We move to number 5, and our first non-12th scale figure is the 6th scale, and it will be my 6th scale figure of the year, and that's from Asmus Toys, from Lord of the Rings. It is Bilbo Baggins. I talked about this figure in length in my top 5 other toy lines of the year, toy figures of the year recently, and he is just exceptional. His head sculpt, the alternate screaming head sculpt, both are just really, really, really good. What are you doing, buddy? You trying to figure out if you can pick what's the number 1 figure of the year? Yeah? I really like what Asmus is doing with the Lord of the Rings line. I have the Gandalf the White with Shadowfax pre-ordered from Big Bad Toy Store. That'll be coming in soon. I hope they do. I think they just showed a new Boromir. I think he sees himself as a reflection. He was about to leap and bark. I could tell. That would be a bad day. That is not a thing we can do. We cannot leap at ourselves in the reflection of the Detolf. That would be problematic, sir. Sometimes he'll see his reflection in the mirror and he like wants to play with it like it's another dog, so he'll just jump up and down endlessly. And I don't know if he realizes it's himself or if he actually thinks it's another dog. Because it's like he'll just do it intentionally. He wants to sit there and play with himself. But the number 5 figure, the 6 scale figure, the Asmus Bilbo Baggins, I think this one is probably long sold out. It was a low cost, under $200, I think. I love the soft goods. I love the accessories it comes with. Bilbo's one of my favorite mythological or fictionary character from fiction in my life. Speak of the devil, that is him barking at himself at the mirror right now. Rufus, silly dog. That's exactly what he went to do. He went into the bedroom where there's a full-length mirror, and he started barking at himself. You heard me. Do you speak dub? Do you speak dub? Is that your favorite toy of the year, this dragon? I know it's not. You like this dragon fine, but you like that spaceman. That's your figure of the year. Let's move on. Number 4 figure of the year. From Hasbro, the G.I. Joe Classified Series Bat figure. This was my number 1 figure midway through the year. It remained my number 1 figure probably all the way until November. So for 10 months out of the year, this figure remained my number 1 figure of the year. I think it's one of the greatest 1/12 scale figures ever made in terms of like a sub $25 figure, a mass release figure. It's awesome. All the different accessories and interchangeable things, interchangeable heads, battle damage head, interchangeable chest plate battle damage, endless customization opportunities. So many people have 3D printed all the accessories for it so quick, and now they've got the Python Patrol bat. I think there's a Crimson bat coming. You're going to have just bat armies. I am confident it is the figure I have bought the most single one of ever in my life. I have, I think, over 30 bats. I've never bought that many. I have a bunch of Cobra Troopers, but not as many as that. And I just love it. It's so much fun to play with. The articulation's good. It's sturdy. It can stand. It can hold its poses. It's got big feet. I just think it's tremendous. You know, you saw the Alley Viper actually fell off this list, and it was number 2 for a while, and a bunch of figures passed it in the last part of the month, but not a lot of figures passed this bat figure. It is just absolutely tremendous. And you can still find them. I mean, I think even Black Friday, they had some down for like $12 on Amazon. So if you just want one G.I. Joe figure to sit and play with at your desk, get the Classified Series bat. Let's move to number 3. Number 3 figure of the year from Super 7 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Ultimates, the Ray Fillet figure. I've talked a lot about this figure in the past couple months since it came in. I spent a lot of time taking pictures with it. I told you how Ray Fillet is like my earliest memory of my dad like hunting for me, trying to find the Ray Fillet original Playmates toy when it's hard to find, and did it change colors in the water, and what was the image on the front. Somebody's at the door. I don't know who it is at 410, but one moment. it was a cat running across the porch. So I may have lost Rufus for a few minutes as he investigates that through the window. You know, that's my first memory of my dad hunting for something for me. So that figure and what it depicts is special to me, and I enjoy it. I think this figure turned out great. It's big, it's bulky, it's got great accessories. I think it's the best Super 7. I look at him, I think it's the best TMNT Ultimates they've made. It may not be your favorite character, and it holds a special nostalgia for me, of course. It's different for everybody. But when I look at all of them right here, it may be the best one they've made. It is such a cool representation of that classic toy, and I just love it. I just love it. So number 3, Super 7 TMNT Ultimates, Ray Fillet. Moving to number 2, and, you know, this line I have a love-hate relationship with, primarily because of the number of exclusives, which this was one of, and it was hard for people to get. But the number 2 figure is from Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Serpentor with the Air Chariot figure. This figure is tremendous. It is everything that G.I. Joe Classified should be. It comes with a large vehicle that has a lot of details, a lot of accents. I'm looking at it over there. The figure is huge. He towers over the rest of your classifieds as Serpentor should. He looks like the emperor of the bad guys. He looks the way he should. He's a lot of fun. Comes with cool accessories. The soft goods is neither here nor there. I'd like for that cape to be a lot nicer. But he has good alternate accessories. They're really the only flaw in this figure is the little blades on his wrist should be better painted. They're just a solid gray molded plastic. I wish they were better painted, but they didn't miss on much. And even though this figure was expensive, around 80 bucks, I think that price point is more in line than the $50 for Dr. Mindbender. Now, I really think Dr. Mindbender should have been about 35 and Serpentor 50, but coming with that big vehicle, I see more in that than some of the other things I've paid $80 for, if I'm honest with you. He comes with a lot of stuff. He has a good shelf presence, especially once you get that his tank in. They're going to look great together. G.I. Joe Classified was a tremendous line this year. They just make it hard to get. And that's what's frustrating in the number of exclusives, especially for a huge company like Hasbro. They shouldn't be so hard to get. But my number 2 figure of the year is Serpentor. I don't know if it's still available. You probably pay aftermarket prices. But if you're a Joe fan, this is one you definitely need. Now, let's move on to our number 1 figure of 2022. A figure I was anticipating once it was announced. This figure didn't even get announced until into 2022, whereas most of the stuff we've already had on pre-order for a year, right? But this figure was only announced in the year. I want to say it was around San Diego Comic-Con or a little bit before. It was the first time we saw images of it, and it was in our hands a few months later. That's from NECA. Is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic series, the last Ronin figure. Whether you want the unarmored or the armored, I'm treating them as the same figure. I would say the unarmored I like more because it comes with the dog, but the armored figure itself looks better. So I like the accessories in the unarmored, the figure of the armored, but together they're great. I just picked these up at Retro Toy Con in Greenville, South Carolina from Needless Toys. Got them below the MSRP. I don't know. I think Big Bad Toy Store now has them in stock. I think most people are starting to get these in their hand, see them in Walmarts. Readily available, many different retailers you can get it. You know, is the price point good? I mean, the NECA Ultimates are pushing like 40 bucks. I think this was a $37.99 SKU, but it's a great figure. Reading The Last Ronin as it was coming out over these last a year and a half has been quite an experience to have a modern Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles storyline that you got to enjoy as an adult. That was a lot of fun. And so there's like both nostalgia for the old days and immediate nostalgia for something you're getting to experience again that brings you nostalgia from the past too. That's an interesting experience, thinking made this figure go higher up the list. But primarily, it's awesome. It's an awesome figure. It comes with all the cool accessories. It looks great. QC on it, on mine at least, was good. And it's easy to get. It's not an exclusive. It's readily available. And that's a big part of what makes a figure enjoyable. You know, some of these figures in these toy lines would be higher on the list if they weren't so doggone hard to get. So the NECA TMNT Last Ronin, I think it's a figure all of you would enjoy. Especially the uniqueness of the Last Ronin. You could have that turtle fighting anybody in your collection. It's one I definitely recommend. I think you should try to find. It shouldn't be hard to find, but pick it up. And it really shows what NECA can do. They can do so much. The packaging itself is great. If you get both of them, the side art connects to form one piece of art. It looks like as they plan to release more Last Ronin figures, maybe the other brothers, some of the soldiers he fights, some of those things. They may make one big collage across the side art, which is cool. I throw those boxes away, but it's cool to see. NECA does, they hit all the marks. They just suck at logistics. Customer service isn't great. They're snarky on social media. And they have some QC and paint rub issues quite a bit. But man, the product they put out is usually pretty doggone good. And they got my #1 figure of the year this year. A year that was fun. As I think back on 2022, and we'll talk more about this in another video before the end of the year, but I look around this room, a lot of good toys came in. We rearranged the toy room. The half behind you is all the girls stuff, and you know, and a lot of all the Dragon Ball, these 6 scale, these are things we collect as a family. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, you know, some just Nally and I, some all 3 of us, Harry Potter. You know, and my stuff that's just my stuff is just this section behind you and 2 shelves there. Everything else is a family toy room, which is great, which is really great. And it makes me enjoy collecting more. I get to enjoy more for the girls. I look at my pre-orders on Big Bad Toy Store. Most of them are for the girls now and not for me. And I think that's more fun because I still get the thrill of hunting and finding new things, but it's not all just stuff, right? Like you get to scratch a bunch of different itches. I think as you go into 2023 and you think about your toy collecting goals for 2023, I think we're going to see a little bit of a slowdown. We've seen the rush of a whole bunch of pre-orders showing up recently as the supply chain logistics have caught up recently, but I think it's going to pivot back where things will be more spread out. And honestly, with all the retailers having to clearance a bunch of stuff, I think we're going to see less supply than before. I think you're going to see some empty shelves and some empty online stores to a point because they're not going to order the super surplus because they've had to blow these things out, especially with Super 7 inventory that's been held on to, NECA inventory that's been held on to, Marvel Legends stuff being held on to, that stores aren't able to sell and they have to clearance out. That's going to have an impact in the market. So I would recommend finding places like Big Bad Toy Store that you can pre-order with no money down and you can cancel for any reason, to hold some pre-orders and then play that game. I am of the mind to start playing the clearance game, the long game for some things, but I also, just from a business sense, stores are going to be ordering less of the next waves of stuff because they've had to clearance them. It's the way it works. Well, I didn't sell as many of them, so I'm not going to order as many of them the next time. And I think we're about to be in that wave, so I want to make sure the things I really like, Super 7 TMNT, NECA TMNT, I want to be able to get them. Now, NECA TMNT is interesting. We have no outstanding pre-orders with them anymore through the NECA store. So during COVID, Target stuff wasn't available. They started letting you pre-order Target stuff and movie stuff through the NECA store. That's all gone. They've just shipped out the Secret of the Ooze stuff. There's nothing outstanding from NECA in my queue from the NECA store. Whereas there was a whole bunch of cartoon figures like Usagi and the Neutrinos and the Zack and Smash and the Rock Soldier 2-Bat. Now I think they're just going to start showing up in Target again like it was before COVID. And sometimes that stuff's harder to get, especially if Target's ordering less. So it's going to be an interesting year in toys, I think. And I'd like to talk more about that as we get into January. So let me know other top 5, top 10 type videos that you're interested in. Again, I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed all the content from the Dubs as we wind down the holiday season and the year of B-Dub fit together. And we're looking forward to 2023 and everything that it offers. Have a happy new year. Have a safe and fun week this week. We'll talk to you next time. Squeeze it!